So weather permitting, these guys are going to take their first crack at the drag strip this coming Saturday night. The weather is a little iffy, right? It's supposed to be
nice.
All right,
it's
well,
be like 88 degrees.
All right. So the first thing we have to do, now we've already gone over the cars mechanically. Things are running as well as they're going to run. The objective here is to get our baseline passes on these cars. So, I mean, as far as that goes, this is running okay.
Yeah, this is good to go.
This is running okay.
Yep.
All right. So now we're going to go establish our baselines. Now, they've never been to a drag strip before. And if you're watching this with any type of interest, you've probably never been to a drag strip either. So we're not doing this video for guys who are racing pro mods or professional street racers. This video is for guys like them who have cars like these that want to take them to the track for the very first time. So before we go to the track, we have to be aware of something called the tech inspection. Now, a lot of the smaller tracks don't do any tech inspection at all. And it's a bit of an insurance loophole. If they don't look at the car and you get stuffed in it, right? It's like, you know, it's not their fault. You signed your waiver, you paid your money, and now you go take your chances. But a lot of tracks, larger tracks, will do a tech inspection. And there are different levels of tech inspection. For faster cars meaning 1150 or quicker in the quarter mile, 749 or quicker in the eighth mile. That's your cutoff point for when the drag strip considers your car to be an actual race car, right? For a street car, you go by a slightly different set of standards. So that 1150, 749 cutoff is where you need a roll bar, you need special belts, you need all of this other stuff. But for cars like this, and probably cars like yours, you don't need any of that. You're going to have to go through a basic tech inspection. And like I said, even if your track doesn't do a tech inspection for whatever reason, you should do it yourself. It's just good practice. And this way, when you do go to a track that has, you know, a tech inspector, especially an Eagle Eye one, you're going to be okay. Now, we're going to cover the faster cars with Andy Woods, Unity Motorsports Garage. He actually is a certified NHRA tech inspector, so he's going to go through all of the more sophisticated steps. What I want to do right now with these two cars is go over them the same way a tech inspector would at a regular track. So let's start with this one. Pop the hood on this. So the first thing we're going to look for is anything that looks a little janky, loose, or anything like that. First off is that we don't have a battery hold down on that. So we're going to have to get some kind of battery hold down on this. I know it hasn't fallen out yet, and it probably never will fall out, but a tech inspector will flag you for that.
Oh yeah.
So that's got to get done. Your fuel line's beautiful. Now remember, you're only allowed to use short sections of rubber like this for connection purposes only. If you've got a rubber line running, you know, all over the place like a lot of guys do with their street cars, NG, no good. This is about the maximum allowable, like what we have over here. Can we see this line on the inlet side? Now, I would pass this if I was at the track. This is a longer section that you want to see, but it's on the suction side. So I'm not concerned with this. On the pressure side, though, we've got all good hard lines and just short connections. That looks good. Ready to catch can, an overflow bottle. This will work. This will work. It's not going anywhere. That's fine. This is attached. That's good. Nothing flopping around. Okay. So now on the outside of the car, we're going to look and make sure we have all of our lug nuts. Now, lug nuts is something that's very important. When you've got stamped steel rims like these, or stamped steel rims like these, any lug nut will do. The rule is that the stud has to stick out of the rim at least its diameter. Okay, so now on a stamped steel rim, that's a given. The stud's obviously going to stick out more than its diameter. But once you get into an aftermarket wheel, like a aluminum wheel that has a deep lug nut, well then the original studs aren't long enough. So your tech inspector is going to want to see, let's pretend that this isn't a steel rim, but this is an aluminum mag, okay? Your tech inspector is going to want to see that the stud is sticking out past the outside of the wheel, at least its diameter. So for that purpose, some tracks will allow you to pop a lug nut off and they'll check it that way. Some tracks, a lot of traffic, They don't want to be bothered. They're going to want to see lug nuts that have the shank opened up so that you can actually see the stud. But again, see, on a stamped steel rim like this, that's not an issue. It's only when you get into an aftermarket wheel, you know, an aluminum wheel. Make sure that there's at least the thickness, the diameter of the stud sticking out before you take out to the track. Interior, we're going to look around for anything that's flopping around. Loosely mounted fire extinguishers, anything that could get tossed around in the event of an incident. And you know, I want you to understand something. The odds of a car like this actually having trouble going down a drag strip is zero, like less than zero, because it's the same as getting on a highway on-ramp, okay? But you don't know what's in the other lane, right? Sometimes during time trials, they'll pair you up with something that's significantly faster. Now that thing busts a radiator hose, pops a transmission cooler line, whatever it happens to be, it's coming in your lane. So even though you're driving basically a slow, safe car, the guy in the other lane, you don't know what's going to be there. So the other thing is we want to look for seat belts. And we got good belts. Now at this ET level, stock belts are fine. So as long as they're in there, they're anchored the way they're supposed to. We're going to look for any gaping holes in the floor. This got a little hole in the floor pan, not a big deal. Most of tech inspection at a car at this level is really the discretion of the inspector. We'll pop the trunk. Okay, we're going to want to see this stuff out of here. We don't want things bouncing around and flying around inside the trunk, especially this, right? So we would have the trunk empty. Here's something we're going to get into. I'm going to do a whole separate video on this, okay? Trunk-mounted batteries. The rule for a trunk-mounted battery is that if you've relocated the battery to the back of the car, there has to be a way outside to kill all power to the car. Meaning that if there's an upset, if there's an event, if there's a problem, somebody's got to be able to run to the car and immediately shut it off. So it has to kill power to the engine, and it has to kill power to the electric fuel pump. When you go to a tech inspection, you go to the track for a tech inspection like this, and you've got a car that has a factory back-mounted battery, they don't bother with that. It's only when you get into that 1150 and quicker that they'll start to look for the shut-off switch. And again, see, it's really at the discretion of the tech inspector. A car like this with a mechanical fuel pump, it's probably not going to get in any trouble. If he had mounted the battery in the trunk, it's not a problem. As long as the battery is secure and it's vented outside the vehicle, I'm not going to look, if I'm taking this car at a regular test and tune night, I'm not going to look for an outside, a shut-off. But anyway, yeah, this looks good. Just before you run the car, just take all this loose stuff out.
Oh yeah.
Let's look at Garrett's. Well, you already got we know your battery's under the hood.
Yep.
And we know your trunk is full of crap.
Actually.
You gotta get out of here.
Actually, that's where you're wrong.
Ooh, nice.
It's just got wood in it.
Okay.
So.
Snazzy.
Tried.
Yep.
I was like, yep, I need to take all this.
Still don't know why you left that piece of crap in there.
I have this phobia with my cars. If I've ever taken one out, like on my daily driver, I blew a tire. Guess what? I was on the side of the interstate until 1 a.m. I left it in there because at least that could possibly limp me home.
Right.
So I just left it in there. I was like, if I take this out here, bad mojo. I'm all about bad mojo.
All right, so we're missing lug nuts. Missing a lug nut there.
I believe that is the only one.
Okay, well, you're going to have one on there before I can let you down my drag strip. Missing one here.
Nope, got two.
Okay, so we got to put 2 lug nuts in it. Your seat belts are good?
Yep.
What is that revolver?
Oh, that would be my 45 rigger that I carry with me every once in a while.
Anti-theft device.
Yes.
Nice piece. Okay. Pop out. Okay, here another one with no battery hold down. We got to get that taken care of. I notice your positive. This isn't really a tech thing, but I notice your positive cable is right exactly on top of metal inner fender cover.
That's a Chevy
So-
battery, isn't it?
Yeah, this is a GM style battery. So
Somebody had converted it, I guess.
I want to relocate this so that it's not so close to touching that. We don't need a dead short against there. Okay, everything's looking good here. And we have our coolant overflow bottle. We have good fuel lines. I don't see anything leaking. I don't see anything weird. I think we're in good shape here. So with this thing, just the battery hold down and the lug nuts.
Gotcha.
You should probably leave the gun in the pits.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. And again, before you run this car, anything that's loose inside the car, flying around, and if there is a problem, you want to take it out of the car. Just make a nice little pile in your pit.
Gotcha.
You know, the pit is the safest place on earth. You could leave a roll of $1,000. You could leave a chunk of $100 bills just laying in the middle of your pit, and when you get back, there'll be somebody watching it for you.
Hey,
The drag strip is a unique place like that. So,
Well, I know
all
where
right.
I'm storing my gold.
So, the shop is yours for the evening. Whatever you guys need to do, you go do it. And Saturday night we get together and go do some drag racing.
Yes, sir.
All right. And that's it for now. See you tomorrow.